Hello and welcome back to another Nerf blaster review video for the channel. My name is Luke Triton and today we are covering the Barrel Break IX-2. I actually really like this blaster, but a lot of people are going to look at this and go, oh, for goodness sakes, really? If you don't recognise this, you're probably going to go, ooh, what is that? This is a blaster from 2010. Yeah, from the original N-Strike days. And back then, it wasn't that bad. I mean, when you compare the limited range of Nerf blasters at the time, sure, it still wasn't going to really stand out, but for what it was, a sort of sawn-off double-barrel shotgun, this was cool. And it's extra cool because I got mine in Sonic Fire. Aha, so that's pretty good. It does come with attachments, which I will cover later on. But let's have a look at the blaster itself. So this is sort of a long pistol length, and this is definitely the sort of thing that you could customize to be more pirate-orientated, definitely more cosplay sort of themed. So yeah, it's again still a really cool blaster for that sort of effect alone. This is a breach action, or breach loading break action. I think that's the specific way around. Single shots blaster, however you can fire both shots at the same time. So to do so, I need to move closer for this. There is a switch on both sides. It is an ambidextrous blaster, which is very cool. I always fire with my right hand, and whenever I go to open the breech, I use the one on this side with my thumb. So when you flick this down, pay attention to the barrel, that nudges forward. You pull it out, you push it down, insert 2 darts, which I should do actually, because this will make an excellent fire demonstration. 1, 2. You get them in properly when you find that they are kind of flush with the back of the barrel there. All the way up, all the way back, ready to go. When it's open and after you've lifted it before you put the barrel back in, you can technically force it back open, but I don't recommend you do that. The noise it makes kind of sounds like there's 2 cogs kind of rubbing against each other like that. It's really weird. I don't like it. So if you do get it wrong, just finish the loading sequence anyway, and then go to reload again in case you miss a dart or something. So in order to fire one at a time, you need to use the 2-stage section of the trigger, and this is not that difficult, but something I don't think you can get used to, because after firing this a few times you might get a bit fed up of having to reload after every time you pull the trigger. So the way I kind of do this, and I think everybody else kind of does this as well, is you put more of your finger into the kind of trigger area and kind of curve your hand to pull the trigger. So I'm going to try and demonstrate it. There we go. Oh, I think the barrel was a bit too low, I do apologise. But a better way of showing that off, because this is a Sonic series blaster with some clear details on the shell, you can see the 2 springs here. Let me try and show this off in a more interesting way. Being careful. There's 1, there's 2. Aha! Wonderful. That's basically it. That is the Barrel Break IX-2, and it is a more fun blaster than anything else. If you're going to take this into a Nerf war, this better be an emergency blaster, because the amazing thing about this, just to load it up one more time, if you pull this out of your holster, you got 2 shots straight away. At least one of them is hitting, surely, but you got 2 shots ready to rock and roll. Excellent stuff. If you're going to take this as your primary, you clearly are either not caring about the Nerf war you're taking part of, or you're inside playing with a friend. The attachment that comes with this blaster is probably the thing that makes this set good. Back in the day in 2010 when this came out, I thought to myself, that's one of the coolest attachments ever. I had a Stampede with the shield, the bipod grip at the very front, and I had the 35 dart drum from the Raider. On the side rails, I had one of these. So I've got the big shield here, and I had this basically on the rail behind the shield. 8 more darts ready to go. Back then, that was excellent. Nowadays, I suppose that doesn't really matter because a lot of people use magazine-fed blasters anyway. There are open cylinder blasters where this kind of attachment would prove more useful too, but this is the only attachment you could ever really use for something like this. You fire 1 or 2 shots at a time, but as soon as you pull the trigger, it's time to reload. As soon as you pull the trigger, time to reload. And you want your darts to be immediately accessible. As an attachment, sure, maybe you're not running any gear. If you are running gear, you probably have a pouch of darts anyways. But that's just an interesting part about the blaster. I think this is still a really fun A very kind of silly, gimmicky blaster. It's kind of expensive, brand new. I think it was just some point last year. I went into a toy shop and I saw this kind of brand new in box. This one in particular, not this very blaster, but a barrel break in Sonic Fire. Brand new in box, came with the attachment, came with all the darts. I thought, oh, that's actually pretty cool. You know, I remember playing with this blaster. I'm actually going to go for that. It was 20 quid. I thought, nope, not for this blaster. So this kind of takes me into the purchase recommendation. Kind of going back to when I first started my Nerf blaster review series, I was looking more to older blasters, and being British here in the UK, we only get some, not all of the Nerf blasters when they are brand new and released. This is tricky because I personally like this blaster. It was a favourite of mine. It's definitely something you can play with for a good bit of time before wanting to move on to a different blaster. That reload sequence is definitely going to be annoying, but it's still fun. I still really do enjoy playing with this. Every time I pick this up, I'm like, yes, this is cool. If you are like on eBay, for example, you go, oh, I want to see what Nerf blaster I can get my hands on. Maybe I want to get one for my kid. Maybe there's something I want to add to my collection. If you're a collector and you don't have one of these, sure, why not? They are relatively cheap. I was able to get this one for £5, and I can't imagine any barrel breaks going for anything more than 10, and that is really pushing it. The UK market is very different to the US market, so for people outside of the UK thinking £10 for one of these, that's ridiculous. I know, but again, market differences are just pretty different over here in the UK. If you are a parent and you want to buy a new blaster for your kid, I don't see a reason in getting this one. It's a bit too complicated for them to really enjoy. And again, that sort of frustrating sequence of having to reload after every single trigger pull is going to get annoying for them. It's like, oh, I've got to reload again. It's just boring. That's going to be an understandable feature. So ultimately, as a yes or no for a purchase, no. But unless you're specifically going out of your way to get one of these, make sure you grab one cheap. It's more of a collector's piece. It's more of a fun sort of play around, goofing off sort of thing. It's nothing serious, but even then, it's a great piece of nostalgia and something I'm very happy to have back in my collection. I'm going to put that over there because I want to look after that, especially since I got mine in Sonic Fire. I'm not one for grabbing Sonic series or kind of special paint blasters, but again, I saw that for £5 on eBay. Sure, I'll take it. That's pretty cool. I really do enjoy that blaster, and personally, if anything, let me grab that one more time. I'm someone who absolutely loves attachments. That's my favourite aspect of the Nerf blaster hobby. I care more for this than I do for this. If you see this and you don't already have one, I would personally say try and get yourself one of these, especially if you can get them with the blaster, maybe as part of a bundle, but it's definitely an attachment worth keeping because it is a darts holder. There are people in the Nerf hobby who don't use magazine-fed blasters. They prefer open cylinder blasters. That is a prime attachment to use for something like that. Think the Shockwave from Elite 2.0, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Maybe not a good blast, but even then, open cylinder, you've got 8 more darts ready to go instead of having to look around, oh, where's darts? I need darts. Oh, I've got some here on my tactical rail. Let's go. That's probably the best thing about that blaster. But all in all, I hope this has helped with your purchase decision. This is something as soon as I turn the camera off, I'm going to be playing with this because of course I will. It's a fun blaster. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Just in time as a loud bike raced off outside. Oh well.